Hey guys, I'm Jeff. I'm the winemaker for Tractors Vineyard, and this is the first of many little newsletters. I've got to apologize to all of our long-time newsletter members for not sending you many emails and not keeping you up to date. And those of you new ones who are just joining us on newsletter, hopefully we do a better job of keeping you up to date what we're up to now. I thought over the next sort of week or two, I might bombard you a little bit, try to bring everyone up to speed of where we are now. It's been a crazy few years, bushfires, floods, COVID, the economy. Uh, I think I've been making wine for 27 years, and the last four are probably the worst I've ever seen in history. So I thought I'd finally finding a bit of time and I'd go back to the beginning and sort of let everyone know, I guess, my background, where I'm from, how this company's evolved, what things we're doing that are quite different now, and kind of bring everyone up to speed a bit about where we are. Also, there's going to be a little survey at the end of each newsletter. Guys, please do take a bit of time to fill it out. I don't want to be one of these people that just spam everyone for the hell of spamming everyone. We have people on our newsletter that are interested about the wines. We've got people that are interested about our regenerative farming. We've got people that are interested about our veggies. So rather than just hitting you all with the same information, I'm trying to segment out our newsletter list so I can only tell the wine people about the wine things and the food people about the food things. So that little survey that we're going to put at the end of each newsletter is just helping us to put you into different categories so that we can tell you the things you're interested in and not bore you with the things you're not interested in. So, guys, I guess where did I begin? I grew up on a sheep farm out near Cooma and used to drive an hour and a half to get to school every day. My mum was a kindergarten teacher. My dad was a lecturer at the ANU in botany. So I was really lucky to have two people growing up that one would take the time to explain me things. And the fact that we were on a farm, and I guess that nature and I guess holistic farming has always been part of what we did. Dinner time, I was lucky enough to have wine and water from a very young age. Mum used to put a bit of wine in my water at dinner time, which I loved, of course. And as we get older, of course, we got to enjoy a whole glass of wine. And we often would talk about, sustainability and it's wild. Like all the males in my family are science background and all the females are from artistic backgrounds. So, we could have such this broad range of discussions over dinner. And quite often it would end up with me and my dad with science books out, looking at equations and God knows what sort of rabbit hole we went down. I guess my mum and dad moved out to the farm with an idea of, I guess, becoming self-sustainable. They both love teaching, but they also love the farm. And it was a shame my mother got quite sick when I was about 12 when we had to move back into town from the farm. And I've always loved agriculture and always remember being out on the farm and that passion for it. And so for some reason, when I finished school, I knew I either wanted to be a winemaker or an outdoor education teacher. Don't ask me why those two, but they were the two that were just stuck in my mind. And my dad convinced me that over the summer period at the end of school, maybe I should go and get a job in one of the local wineries to see if I actually enjoyed winemaking. So I went and got a job at a winery called Clonakilla. And I ended up spending 3 years working for them whilst I started studying at university, my winemaking degree. And of course, I couldn't just have a normal winemaking degree like everyone else. My dad was a lecturer at ANU and he was a sub-dean of science there. So he looked at the winemaking degree and it would go, right, chemistry, you're going to do at ANU, and agronomy, you're going to go all the way up to Armidale because they're the best at agronomy, and you're going to do your agronomy up there. And wine science units, you can go down to Charles Sturt. So I had this wild degree from all over Australia. But I was really lucky because when I went through my winemaking degree, there was about 10 people. So I kind of became a winemaker before it was cool to be a winemaker. About 2 years after me, there was about 200 people. So I literally walked out of uni straight into a job as vintage winemaker with Pernod Ricard. And that's kind of unheard of these days. That's like sort of 10, 15 years you'd be working in the industry as a cellar hand, doing the hard yards before you even got near a position like that. So, I mean, that was just the times we um, we were in when I finished uni. It was incredible. I then was lucky enough to sort of consult all around the world. I spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe. I loved winemaking there because it's like the birthplace of wine. I learnt so much there. But I got a little bit of not bored's the bored's probably the word, but not quite the right word. But I just wasn't enjoying doing the same old winemaking. When you're consulting, you're sort of restrained by the marketing people and the sales people. And so you can't really just do whatever you want, however you want. And of course, if you're trialing all these new ideas, then you're doing that on someone else's wine. If it goes wrong, that's an absolute disaster. So I guess in 2011, I started my own contract winemaking business in the Southern Highlands, and then I started my own label to keep me interested in winemaking. And it was really just about like doing things the way I wanted to do them with the fruit the way I wanted it. And I quickly found out that I wasn't really getting the quality of fruit that I was after. And so I started to get a bit more involved in the vineyards and started to, I'd go out to a client's vineyard and I'd open their sheds to give them some advice. And I'd look at the chemicals and I'd be like, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to go near that. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to be anywhere around that. And I thought, God, like there's so many chemicals. I am not going near any of these things. And so I started to like really realize how much toxic mess we put onto these vines and started to look around at what's other solutions, what can we, there's got to be a better way. Like surely we haven't always sprayed so many toxins on our vineyards. What's a better way? And I eventually came across biodynamics and was lucky enough in about 2013, I signed my first 5-year lease of a vineyard of my very own and sort of converted it to biodynamics. And this is a vineyard you can sort of see in the background here of me. This is our first vineyard here in the Highlands that we converted with the biodynamics and with the sheep. You can see remnants of the old early days when we used to run little electric wires underneath the vines to keep the sheep off. And that's a whole nother story we went down. But so now I'm lucky enough. I run tractorless vineyards. We run the vineyards all biodynamically. We run sheep through the vineyards the entire growing season. So we use the tractor about 60% less, and that's where the name tractorless comes from. But tractorless has become a real, I guess, our focal point, what our ultimate goal is. If I can create these perfect natural systems so that our farm is in a natural harmony and natural balance with nature, the theory is that we won't need tractors. We won't need human intervention because our natural systems are so great. And so our sort of philosophy, I like to call it polyag, where we're using ideas of permaculture, holistic management, natural sequence farming, all these different ideas come together, and we're trying to rebuild this sort of natural system. Now, when I started this, I was like known as the crazy hippie up on the hill. And look, we did some crazy things at the early days. I ate that entire vineyard a number of times trying to work out our systems. I didn't do things in half. You think I'd do a block or two at a time, but no, we just did the whole vineyard and yeah, we ate it a few times and we eventually worked out the technique. And I guess we're lucky because wine's one of those things that it lends itself to flowing ideas, and it's a great way to sit around and talk about knowledge and share, especially after a few wines, come up with some new crazy farming ideas. Um, and so slowly this wine label of mine that was all about the wine started becoming more and more about the vineyard. And now it's becoming even more and more about our vineyard management practices and our farm management practices. And now it's all about this regenerative, sustainable farming idea. And the wine is, I guess, a byproduct of what we're trying to do, which is create this nutrient dense, rich, sustainable farm produce. And the wines just happen to be some of that produce that we're producing. Um, I guess I've grown more and more passionate. I've always loved farming, and I'm around farmers all the time. And what I really love about these regenerative systems is watching the life come back to a vineyard, and you can just hear it and feel it in the soils, and you can smell it, and the birds start coming and the insects start coming. And it's really quite incredible to reinvigorate the lands and started seeing things change in a positive way. And I spent a lot of time, and I still do spend a lot of time telling people this is what everyone should be doing. Come on, everyone should be doing this. But I really quickly realized that you just can't convince everyone, and you can't tell anyone what to do. And the best way to do it is really to lead by example. So what we do now, our main focus now is to convert a number of vineyards. At the moment, mainly in the Southern Highlands, but we're working on a few others. But as we convert them, these become showpieces for the industry so that we can demonstrate what we do. And we've got some massive projects planned. But I mean, that's another story. Don't get me sidetracked now. This recording is probably getting too long as it is, so I'm trying to keep it nice and short. um, for now, look, guys, I would really love to know if sustainability is something that's important to you. Do you have a backyard garden? Are you interested in regenerative farming? Are you more interested in just the wine? Like, guys, please either hit reply and let us know, or just there's a little survey. Please take the time to fill it out. Let us know what you are interested in. We're going to try and target what we tell you a little bit, so I don't just bombard you all about you get me down these sustainable regenerative farming rabbit holes, and you won't stop me. And those of you who are just here to enjoy some great wine with us, that's fantastic. You probably don't want to hear me go on and on about sustainability and microbes and microflora and all these things. So please fill out the survey at the bottom so that we don't bombard you for that extra information. But guys, have a great day. And hopefully I'll get to do another one of these really soon, maybe in the next week or two, so that I can get you the next little update. So see you soon, guys, and hopefully we might see you at our cellar door.